Today we are here again. I am repeating BS Zoology, third semester, final term, phylum Arthropoda, about its characteristics and classification. Lecture is delivered by Shabana Wali. Today we are going to discuss about the characteristics of phylum Arthropoda. Number of characteristics have been reported, but mainly we have number 1, metamerism. Number 2, about its exoskeleton. Number 3, jointed appendages. Number 4, about ecdysis. Then ventral nervous system, coelom, circulatory, digestive system, and in the last we will discuss metamorphosis. First, as I told you before, we have metamerism and tegmatization. Metamerism, or we can say tegmatization. Metamerism is most evident externally because the arthropod body is often composed of a series of similar segments, each bearing a pair of appendages. Internally, septa do not divide the body cavity, and most organ systems are not metamerically arranged. Although metamerism have been observed in phylum Annelida also, but the main difference in both of these, there we have observed metamerism from external to the internal. Septa or septum also divided internally, but in case of Arthropoda, here metamerism is only observed externally, and internally septa do not divide the body cavity. And the second difference in both of these phylum with the concern of the metamerism is that here most organ systems are not repeated because internally septa have not been observed in the divided condition. But in case of annelid, segments are present from external to internal. That is the reason mostly organs have been repeatedly present. Metamerism permits the specialization of regions of body for specific functions. This regional specialization is called tegmatization. So we can say metamerism is the process and tegmatization is the phenomena. In Arthropoda, body regions called tegmata are specialized for feeding and sensory perceptions, locomotion and visual functions. Their specific functions are localized in the region of the tegmata. Second, I told you about its characteristic concerned with exoskeleton. If we want to define the skeleton, it means hard part of the body. Hard part of the body may be present externally or internally. But if these are present externally, hard part is present which gives the proper framework to the body, shades to the body. If it is present externally in the form of scales, in the form of shell, then it is called or named exoskeleton. Exoskeleton, an external jointed skeleton called an exoskeleton or cuticle. It encloses the arthropods. It is a major reason for arthropod success, for its survival. It provides structural support, protection, impermeable surfaces for the prevention of water loss. Impermeable surfaces, it means no molecules have permitted to go outside or evaporates. And a system of levers for muscle attachment and movement. Second characteristic with the concern of exoskeleton covers all body surfaces and invaginations of the body wall, such as the anterior and posterior portions of the gut tract. It is the non-living and is secreted by a single layer of epidermal cells. Third, we have epidermal layer. Epidermal layer is sometimes called the hypodermis because it is covered on the outside by the exoskeleton. That is the reason we named it hypodermis. Exoskeleton has two layers. Number one, epicuticle. Epicuticle is the outermost layer made of a waxy lipoprotein. Lipoprotein made of both lipid and protein. It is impermeable to water and barrier to microorganisms and pesticides. Barrier means microorganisms and pesticides have to face hurdle or resistance for their entrance. Second, the bulk of an exoskeleton is below the epicuticle and is called the procuticle. Procuticle incrustations. Procuticle is sometimes called the endocuticle. Procuticle is composed of chitin, a tough, leathery polysaccharides. Polysaccharides, the class of carbohydrate, and several kinds of protein. It means glycoprotein, just like we use the word lipoprotein made of lipid and lipid fat or protein. Here the glycoprotein we can use because polysaccharides carbohydrate, glyco we use the word glyco for carbohydrate and side by side with proteins. The procuticle hardens through a process called sclerotization and sometimes by impregnation with calcium carbonate, the special type of phenomena that is called sclerotization, which are used to give the hard texture to the procuticle. Procuticle को hard structure देने के लिए special type of phenomena used, that is called the sclerotization. After that we have discussed, we have further points for exoskeleton. Sclerotization is tanning process in which layer of protein are chemically cross-lined with one another, hardening and darkening the exoskeleton as we discussed before. In insects and most other arthropods, this bonding occurs in the outer portion of the procuticle. The exoskeleton of crustaceans hardens by sclerotization and by the deposition of calcium carbonate in the middle region of the procuticle. So, sclerotization is specified in the middle region of the procuticle. Some proteins give the exoskeleton resiliency. Distortion of the exoskeleton stores energy for such activities as flapping wings, jumping. The inner portion of the procuticle does not harden. Middle portion it becomes hardened and the inner portion remain in the soft condition. After that we have next characteristic is about ecdysis. Ecdysis are commonly called molting. The growth of an arthropod would be virtually impossible unless the exoskeleton were periodically shed, such as in the molting process called the ecdysis. It means removal of skin. Simply, if we want to know, then it is the removal and appearing of the new skin. So, new skin. So, whenever new skin appears during this process, this is considered the growth process. Appearance of new skin and disappearance of the old skin or removal of the old skin. So that is ecdysis. Ecdysis is divided into 4 stages and it is controlled by a hormones endocrine system. Enzymes secreted from the hypodermal glands begin digesting the old procuticle. Begin digesting, it means removing or dissolve to separate the hypodermis and the exoskeleton. New procuticle and epicuticle is secreted. They secreted in the form of secretion and then becomes hardened. The old exoskeleton splits open along predetermined axial lines when the animal stretches by air or water intake. Pores in the procuticle secrete additional epicuticle. It is the process of splitting of the cuticles. Finally, calcium carbonate deposits and sclerotization hardens the new exoskeleton. During the few hours or days of the hardening process, the arthropod is vulnerable to predators and remains hidden. The nervous and endocrine system control of all these changes. So it is not this period during new skin appears and old dissolves. Not only the new skin appears but also becomes hardens. This period is also considered the growth period side by side because internal part of the body is visible or naked. That is the reason here they will have to face the predators. That is the reason during this period arthropods remain in the hidden condition. After that we have special process or distinguished characteristics of phylum Arthropoda. We have metamorphosis. Metamorphosis, a third characteristic that has contributed to arthropod success, is a reduction of the competition between adults and immature stages because of metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is a radical change in body form and physiology as an immature stage, usually called a larva, becomes an adult. If we define it simply, then newborn is completely different from their adult. They will have to pass or cross or face some changes by which they will be visible to their parents. Metamorphosis have number of stages. Adult crabs, for example, usually prowl the sandy bottoms of the marine habitats for live prey or decaying organic matter, whereas larval crabs live and feed in the plankton. Plankton, we use such type of organism or plants which are considered the floating organism over the water body. Similarly, the caterpillar that feeds on leafy vegetation eventually develops into a nectar feeding adult butterfly or moth. Thus, larvae and adults do not compete for food or living space. Larvae also serve as the dispersal stage. So, these are the four main, these are the four main stages by which we can distinguish the arthropods from the other organisms. Side by side, as I told you before, we have number of other characteristics. These characteristics are about nervous system. They have ventral nervous system. After that we have circulation. About their circulation, arthropods have open circulatory system in which blood is released into tissue spaces derived from the blastocele. After that we have digestive system. They have complete digestive tract. And in the last we have appendages. I told you in the introduction, arthropods have paired jointed appendages. So these are the basic characteristics which we have discussed in case of arthropods. Now we have evolutionary perspectives and about the phylogeny of phylum Arthropoda. Which type of evolutionary perspectives they have and which type of phylogenetic. Yes? What's the problem? Here we are going to discuss about the evolutionary perspectives and phylogeny of arthropod. Now you can listen properly? Yes. Okay. Many zoologists argue that one of the species of small from 1 to 2 millimeter crustaceans These are named copepod. Copepod drift in the open oceans must have greatest number of species. So copepod is the class in which number of species have been reported. Copepods have been very successful, feeding on the vast photosynthetic production of the open oceans. They depend on the photosynthetic plants. Copepods are food of fish such as herring, sharks, largest mammals, the blue whales, and its relatives. So, number of organisms depend on copepods. Humans benefits from copepod production by eating fish that feed on copepod. So in this way, human beings also able to get the benefits from the copepod. Arthropods and annelids are closely related. On which basis we can say these are closely related? Number one, we have protostomes characteristics. We have discussed before about the schizocylus coelom formation and the development of the mouth from the blastopore, as well as other common characteristics such as presence of a paired ventral nerve cord and metamerism. These are the common ancestry by which we can say annelids and arthropods are closely related. Only on the basis of metamerism we can judge easily these are closely related or some similarities are present in both of these phyla. Zoologists disagree about the evolutionary relationships between among the arthropods. Many zoologists believe that it is not one phylum, but 3 living arthropods are divided into 3 subphyla: Chelicerata, Crustacea, and Uniramia. Chelicerata, Crustacea, and Uniramia, all members of a 4th subphylum, Trilobitomorpha, but these are extinct species. Extinct species, those which are not found today, and they become extinct with the passage of time. So these are evolutionary perspective. First we discussed about the copepods, their benefits, how they get the benefits from the other organism, how other organism including human beings get benefits from the copepods. Then we discussed about the similarities between arthropods and annelids, on which basis of characteristics we can justify their characteristics. And in the last we discussed about that disagreements of some zoologists that it is not only the single phyla but it consists of further classes or phyla, subphyla. So these points are cleared?
Yes, miss.
Okay. Now we have phylogenetic consideration. Phylogenetic consideration. Arthropods have been very successful. This is evidenced. How can we judge that these are successful? Because by the diverse body forms and lifestyles of copepods, crabs, lobster, crayfish, and number of other organisms which are placed in this phyla, which demonstrate adaptive radiations. Few aquatic environments are without some crustaceans. Subphylum Chelicerata is very important group of animals from an evolutionary standpoint, even though they are less numerous in terms of number of species and individuals than are many of the crustacean groups. It means these are less in numbers but more important. Their arthropod exoskeleton and the evolution of excretory and respiratory system that minimize water loss resulted in ancestral member of the subphylum become some of the first terrestrial animals. What is the reason? About the resistance for the removal of water. About the removal of water. Now you can listen. I think you have problem for. Yes, try to manage. I'm delivering my lecture with a very loud voice. I couldn't understand why are you not listening properly. Maybe some sort of problem in your system. We were discussing about the loss of water or resistance in loss of water. This quality gives them benefits with the concern of terrestrial mode of life. Now we have classification of phylum Arthropoda, very important part which we are going to discuss. Number one, we have, first we should simply describe phylum Arthropoda. Such type of animals, as we have discussed in detail before, that such type of animals that show metamerism with tegmatization. Now I think you can justify the point about tegmatization. Second, jointed exoskeleton and the ventral nervous systems. Other characteristics we also discussed, but these are the main characteristics. First subphylum we have Trilobitomorpha, extinct species. Marine, all extinct, lived from Cambrian to Carboniferous periods. These are the time periods in which they were present. Body is divided into 3 longitudinal lobes, head, thorax and abdomen present. 1 pair of antennae and biramus appendages. These are the basic characteristics of extinct species. Named of subphylum is Trilobitomorpha. Second subphylum we have Chelicerata. Chelicerata, as we have discussed, less in number. We are discussing about second subphylum Chelicerata. As we have discussed, in characteristics, their numbers are less, but they are very important. Body usually divided into prosoma and opistosoma. First pair of appendages, pincer-like and used for feeding. After that we have its classes of subphylum Chelicerata. Number 1 class we have Merostomata, marines with book gills on opistosoma. 2 subclasses. Then we have class Arachnida. Arachnida mostly terrestrial with book lungs, tricky or both, usually 4 pairs of walking legs in adult. For example, we have spiders, scorpions. Then we have class Pycnogonida. Pycnogonida, reduced abdomen, no special respiratory or excretory structures, 4 to 6 pairs of walking legs, common in all oceans. Example, we have sea spiders. Then we have third sub. Next class we have Brachiopoda, flattened leaf-like appendages used in respiration, filter feeding, locomotion, and their habitat is freshwater. Example, fairy shrimps. Next class Malacostraca, Appendage is possibly modified for crawling, feeding, swimming. Example, lobster. Class copepods, maxillipedes modified for feeding and antennae modified for swimming. Example, we have copepods. Next class, Cirripedia. Sessile attached as adult, marine and enclosed by calcium carbonate wells. Next subphylum, last we have Uniramia with characteristics: head with one pair of antennae and usually one pair of mandibles. All appendages are uniramous. Example, we have insects and their relatives. Thank you so much.